Buenos días, clase de español 1. Hoy tenemos muchas cosas que hacer. We have a lot of things to do today. There is a lot of vocabulary in this chapter. There's a lot of grammar. This is a really, really big one. Probably one of the most important throughout the entire year. And I know you're thinking to yourselves, the entire year, we're going to put the most important thing in the entire year just in one small subchapter. Well, don't worry too much. We're going to continually come back to this throughout the course of the year, but some of the key concepts we're introducing this week include all 10 subject pronouns, conjugating our first verb in its entirety, both the singulars and the plurals. This is going to be conjugating the verb ser, to be, as well as a lot of vocabulary that goes into this week too. So hopefully many of you will be looking at this screencast and watching this video, maybe getting all of this taken care of in advance so that we don't have to spend as much or the same amount of time in class referencing the material for the first time. So I hope that this is very helpful for you. There will be an extra credit assignment embedded inside of the screencast somewhere. It will be a very helpful one for you, not just for your grade, but also for comprehension and laying the groundwork for being able to do lots of things with the grammar and being able to speak the language this year. So I'd like to keep this all under about 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and begin right now, and we'll be going through vocabulary kind of quickly. Here we go. Capítulo 3.3, chapter 3.3, vocab and grammar, describing people and things. La primera, aburrido is boring or bored. Alto is tall. Antipático is mean or disagreeable. Bajo is short. Bonito is pretty. Bueno is good. Cómico is funny. ¿Cómo es? What is he like? What is she like? Or what is it like? ¿Cómo son? What are they like? El compañero or la compañera are either partner or friend. Difícil, difficult. Divertido, fun. Ellas and ellos. Ellas is they, ellos is they. This is they feminine, this one is they masculine. Ellas and ellos. Eres means you are. Es, he or she is. It can also mean it is. Estricto, strict. Fácil, easy. Feo, ugly. Grande, big. Guapo, good looking. Inteligente, intelligent or smart. Interesante, interesting. Malo is bad. Moreno is dark-haired. The expression no te preocupes means don't worry. Nuevo, new. Pequeño, small. El profesor, the teacher, or la profesora, also the teacher. Rubio, blonde. Simpático, nice. Somos means we are. Several of these were verbs that meant something like we are, they are, you all are. Those are all conjugations of the verb ser, which we're going to come back to in a little bit. Next section of vocabulary, talking about things you like and explaining why. El baile is the dance. El concierto, the concert. ¿Cuál is a question word which asks which, as in which one. Los deportes, sports. El examen, exam. Favorito, favorite. La fiesta, the party. Le gusta is he or she likes. Le gustan also means he or she likes, but when it has an N at the end of gusta, it means that you're liking more than one thing. So for example, he likes pizza would be le gusta la pizza. But if he likes pizzas, it would be le gustan las pizzas. Me gusta or me gustan means I like. No of course, means no. La novela is a novel. El partido de is a game of something. So just the word partido by itself is game. ¿Por qué asks why. ¿Por qué, when it's all one word and without an accent and without question marks, this means because. Te gusta means you like. Verdad means isn't that so? That's what we call a tag question. So you might say, La chica es rubia, verdad? That girl is blonde. Isn't that so? Or isn't that right? It turns sentences into questions at the end. El videojuego is the video game. A few sample sentences. We'll be working with these in the morning on Monday, but if you would like to get them in advance, ¿Cómo es el compañero nuevo? How is your new friend, what is your new friend like? ¿Cómo es la clase? What is the class like? ¿Cómo son los profesores? What are the teachers like? So as you can see, ¿cómo es and ¿cómo son? What is it like? What is he or she like? What are you like? What are they like? Okay. So even though ¿cómo usually asks the question which, when used in this type of a sentence, it means what are they like? What is it like? What is he or she like? Él es alto. He is tall. Ella es alta. She is tall. Es aburrida. It's boring. No te preocupes. Don't worry. Ellos no son muy estrictos. They are not very strict. Y bien. And that will be what you see for your vocab sheet. Hopefully, and I encourage you all to fill this out in advance. Obviously, a little bit of pausing would be in order since I went through it kind of quickly. Let's go ahead and take a look at our significant amount of grammar, some very important grammar concepts for this week. Let's go ahead and begin with those right now. It says describing people and things, talking about things you like and explaining why. This will actually be a little bit more involved than that. There's a lot of verb conjugation, a lot of subject pronouns, making adjectives agree. There's a lot of important things thrown in here. So really pay great attention. Write everything down as well. Formulate questions if you have them, and we'll go ahead and begin with it. First of all, conjugating the verb ser. It looks like we can't fit it all on here. So what I will do is I will move this up and down a little bit in just a moment. First of all, I'll bring this up. That'll put us there, and we'll get down to the rest in a moment. So hopefully you're familiar with the singular forms of the verb ser, which means to be. So obviously yo soy is I am, tú eres is you are, él or ella es is he or she is. So we're going to add to that a little bit right now. We have yo soy, I am, tú eres, you are, él and ella es, he or she is, and then usted es. Usted means you, but it's a more formal way of saying you. Tú is a relaxed way of referring to you, as much as like a family member or a friend. You might refer to them with the word tú. But usted would be like a stranger or someone in a professional setting. So usted es is another way of saying you are, but it's a much more formal way of speaking. Nosotros somos means we are. Somos by itself is we are. Nosotros is the word that means we. Vosotros is you all, informal. So vosotros sois is you all are. Let me move this down a little bit for you so we can get everything in place here. There we go. Ellos, ellas, and ustedes son. So son can mean either they are or you all, formal are. So ellos is they are. Ellas also means they are, but it's when the group of they is only a group of women. And then ustedes means you all are, and it's a formal way of saying you all, whereas vosotros is kind of informal, like saying y'all. Ustedes is a little bit more formal, like if you were speaking to either a class or a group of shareholders or someone in a business meeting, you might say, ustedes son muy importantes. You are all very important, okay? So we will practice this a lot in class. Let's go ahead and continue. Very good. And these are, and I'm going to move this up a little bit for us, the 10 subject pronouns. Now, before I continue on, quick note for you. This is your extra credit. If you want to earn some extra credit this week, your 10 subject pronouns will need to be memorized and recited in front of the class, or at least at your desk from memory. So let's go through them very quickly, and I'll explain the specifics of your assignment. So yo means I, tú means you, él is he, ella, she, usted is you formal, nosotros is we, vosotros is you all informal, ellos is they masculine, ellas is they feminine, and ustedes is you all formal. Don't get too confused between vosotros and ustedes. They both mean you all, but vosotros is informal, ustedes is formal. And also don't get confused between tú and usted. They both mean you, but tú is informal and usted is formal. A quick note about your assignment. For those of you who choose to accept this assignment, you will, without any references or notes in front of you, you'll stand next to your desk, address the group, and you will recite basically this page that we're looking at right here. You'll say, yo, I, tú, you, él, he, ella, she, usted, you formal, nosotros, we, vosotros, you all informal, ellos, they masculine, ellas, they feminine, and ustedes, you all formal. You would have to do it exactly in that order and not necessarily at the same pace. We'll obviously give you some opportunities here, but it's a lot to memorize. But if you do so, you get 5 points of extra credit added on to your normal score. It's a great skill. You have to have it anyways for the test, so might as well go through the process early and get some extra credit for it in the process. It'll make everything else a lot easier. Moving forward, a little bit about adjective agreements, and I have just a few slides on this before we finish up. Adjectives that end in O change to match the nouns that they modify. For example, un libro divertido, a fun book, or unos libros divertidos. Notice that we changed the number here, so it changed in the adjective as well as the noun. Una clase divertida versus unas clases divertidas. Notice that in both of these situations, the adjective changed along with the noun to reflect the change in number as well. Here are some rules. Rule number 1, to describe one person or thing, use es plus a, singular, or plus a singular adjective. For example, el libro es divertido, the book is fun, versus la clase es divertida, the class is fun. To describe more than one person or thing, use son plus some sort of a plural adjective. Los libros son buenos, the books are good. Again, libros and buenos. Las clases son buenas, clases and buenas. In this case, the feminine word clase was plural, and so therefore buenas became plural as well. Last few rules here. I'll put this down for us. Oh, that's difficult to read. Sorry about that. We'll fix that in a moment. If you're describing a group of males and females, use a masculine plural adjective. For example, mis compañeros son simpáticos. My friends are nice. Well, in this case, my friends can be both boys and girls, men and women. So I would say compañeros son simpáticos. Adjectives ending in an E or a consonant such as L, R, or N have only 2 forms, singular or plural. So to make these adjectives plural, simply add an S or an ES. For example, el libro es interesante, the book is interesting, becomes los libros son interesantes. There's no way to turn this to make the word interesante specifically masculine or feminine. So important. Last one, la clase es difícil, the class is difficult, becomes las clases son difíciles. Again, the word clase, even though it's feminine, we can't really change the word difícil because it ends in an N, not naturally an O or an A. And that represents the entirety of our vocabulary and grammar for this week. I know that was a lot. Really spend a lot of time, hopefully this weekend and this week, with vocabulary memorization, as well as your extra credit. I really hope everyone does well with the extra credit. It is of supreme importance Ciao, hasta luego. We'll see you next week.